Mike Portnoy was in his studio when the phone rang. It wasn't just any call, it was the call. For more than a decade, he'd watched Dream Theater carry on without him. The band he co-founded. The band he left in 2010 with a heavy heart. The same band that chose Mike Mangini to fill his shoes, while Portnoy explored other projects, like the Winery Dogs and Sons of Apollo. But now, everything had changed. The voice on the other end of the line was familiar, John Petrucci. Quiet. Serious. "Mike," he said. "We want you back." The silence after that sentence said it all. Portnoy's heart raced. It was unexpected. Emotional. Confusing. Dream Theater had made peace with his absence. And so had he. Or at least, he thought he had. "What about Mangini?" Portnoy asked. There was a pause. "He's out. It's time." Mike didn't know whether to be flattered or heartbroken. For years, fans had dreamed of this reunion, but it came at a cost. A man was losing his job. And not just any man, a drummer Portnoy respected deeply. Still, something stirred inside him. A mixture of pride and nervous energy. He had built this band with blood and sweat. Now, he had a chance to return. But there was one thing he hadn't thought of yet. He would have to play Mangini's drum parts. Stepping into another man's shoes. The first day of rehearsals came faster than expected. Mike Portnoy walked into the room with his sticks in hand, just like old times. But something was different. The set list on the table wasn't full of the songs he had written. It was filled with albums like A Dramatic Turn of Events, Distance Over Time, and A View from the Top of the World. All albums created after he left. As he sat behind the drum kit, he stared at the sheet music. The patterns. The polyrhythms. The speed. These weren't his beats. They're mechanical, Portnoy admitted. But clean. Mangini is a machine. It was a strange feeling. For years, he had been praised for his emotional, fluid style, more heart than precision. Mangini, on the other hand, was exact. Laser-sharp. Almost robotic in execution. But brilliant in his own way. And now, Portnoy had to channel that precision. Note for note. "It felt like I was wearing someone else's armor," he said later. "It fits, but it's not molded to me." He didn't want to just copy Mangini's parts. But fans would expect the original arrangements. And here's the twist, Portnoy respected the work. "I didn't realize how difficult some of these sections were," he confessed. "He did things I probably wouldn't have done, and that's not a bad thing." There were moments in rehearsal where he stopped and laughed. "Damn, Mangini," he muttered, shaking his head. "You really went wild on this one." But it wasn't just about technique. Something deeper was bothering him. The shadow of Mangini wasn't going away. Not yet. When respect meets rivalry. In private, Mike Portnoy never saw Mangini as an enemy. They had always been two giants in the same world, crossing paths in clinics, festivals, and award shows. There was always mutual respect, but never real closeness. Just two masters circling each other, each knowing the other was great, yet different. But now, Portnoy was standing where Mangini used to stand, behind the Dream Theater kit. And the fans had questions. "Will you play Mangini's parts exactly? Do you think you're better? Will you change the arrangements?" These questions followed him everywhere. Online. At shows. In interviews. Portnoy finally spoke. "I'm not here to erase Mangini," he said. "I'm here to honor what he did, but I'm going to play it like me." He described it like an actor taking on a classic role. You can't do Hamlet the same way every time. But you can respect the script? Still, the pressure was real. Some diehard fans believed Mangini had pushed the band into a tighter, more technical sound. Others missed Portnoy's drama and soul. Now, all eyes were on him. At their first show together, playing a song he never wrote, Portnoy looked out into the crowd. Thousands of fans. Holding their breath. Waiting. And when he hit that first downbeat, it was more than just music. It was history catching up. And the journey had just begun. The ghost in the kick drum. After the first show ended, Mike Portnoy sat alone backstage. The crowd had roared. The lights had burned hot. The adrenaline was still pumping. But inside, he was quiet. Not exhausted, just reflective. He had made it through the night. Played every part. Hit every fill. The audience had cheered louder than they had in years. But something felt off. Every time his foot hit the double kick pedal, he felt like he was stepping on someone else's legacy. "I could feel Mangini in every measure," Portnoy later admitted. He wasn't just drumming. He was echoing another man's choices. Each cymbal crash, each syncopated roll, it all came from a mind wired differently than his own. It was like reading a diary written in a language he could speak, but didn't fully understand. And then came the unexpected message. Late that night, a text popped up on Portnoy's phone. It was from Mike Mangini. "Sounds like you crushed it tonight. Just remember, those parts weren't meant to cage you. They were just my version of the story. Now it's your turn again. Portnoy stared at the screen, stunned. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't cold. It was generous. In a world full of egos, that kind of grace was rare. Portnoy typed back, "Thank you. I never realized how deep your stuff really was until I sat behind it." Mangini's reply? "I figured. Now go make it yours." That one message lifted a weight off Portnoy's shoulders. He suddenly understood something. This wasn't a battle. It wasn't a competition. It was a relay. Mangini had carried the torch with power and precision. Now, it was time for Portnoy to carry it again, with soul. The fans speak loudest. As the tour continued, reactions from fans poured in like a flood. Some were thrilled. Finally, the emotional fire is back in the band. Others were cautious. It sounds different, not bad, just different. And a few were brutally honest. Mike's great, but Mangini's parts were cleaner, tighter, more surgical. Portnoy read them all. He didn't take offense. In fact, he expected it. Dream Theater had built two identities, one under his reign, and another under Mangini's. And now, those two worlds were colliding on stage every night. At meet and greets, some fans whispered, "I missed you so much." Others handed him copies of albums he didn't play on and asked, "Can you sign this anyway?" He smiled every time. "Yes, I can." Because whether he wrote the song or not, he was now the drummer of all of Dream Theater again. Still, a decision had to be made. How much of Mangini's work would stay untouched? By the fifth show, Portnoy made a quiet change. He added a ghost note here. A splash cymbal there. A tiny shift in tempo. Nothing wild. But something human. His style was creeping back in. Fans started noticing. He's reinterpreting the parts now. And it's amazing. Portnoy wasn't just performing. He was transforming. And deep inside, he knew this wasn't about being better than Mangini. It was about being Mike Portnoy again. But one final question haunted him. What would the band say? The room where it finally happened. Backstage before a show in Brazil, the band sat down for a meeting. John Petrucci leaned forward, serious as ever. "We need to talk about the set list." Jordan Rudess chimed in, "The fans are loving it. But I think you're holding back." Portnoy raised an eyebrow. "Holding back?" Petrucci nodded. "You're still playing like you're wearing Mangini's jacket. We brought you back. We want you to play like you." There was silence. For years, Portnoy had imagined this moment. A return. A reunion. But in that vision, he thought he'd have to prove himself again. Now they were asking him to be free. "You don't want me to just mimic it?" Rudess smiled. "No, Mike. We want your fire. Your chaos. Your voice." It was the green light he didn't know he needed. That night, for the first time on tour, he tore through The Alien with a completely new feel. Same structure. Same bones. But the soul of it? Pure Portnoy. He improvised. He shouted. He bled on the snare. And the fans went wild. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. After the final cymbal crash, he stood up and looked at the crowd. Thousands of arms in the air. Smiles. Tears. He whispered to himself, "I'm home." But just when he thought the story was over, a rumor started to spread. A secret project involving both Portnoy and Mangini. Could the two drummers actually work together? Could Dream Theater's future be more unexpected than anyone imagined? That story isn't over yet.